The Pachelbel canon is a wonderful piece to work with harmony. You know, we think of harmony in terms of chords, but it's also important to think, how does the scale fit into harmony? So we have our D major for our canon in D. First of all, our scale doesn't just go to D, it goes underneath, doesn't it? So sometimes we should think of our scales going underneath our tonic as well as over top. So our chords are going to derive from the scale. Now let's take a bass line. Canon in D, this concept of a canon is a little different meaning than the usual word of canon, which is like a fugue or an imitated voice. But here what we're going to do is repeat over and over a ground bass, a certain bass line. So we have down a fourth, and then up a step, and down a fourth, and up a step, and down a fourth. So instead of thinking we've got all these chords to memorize, it's very important to know that the pattern is down a fourth and then up a second, isn't it? So down a fourth again, up a second, and down a fourth. And then we cadence 4, 5. So we could do some inversions of our chords over top that. And then you might want to play around with that a little bit in different inversions, just to get to know those chords. The other thing we can do is work with scale. It's interesting, isn't it? The melody just harmonized so nicely. So use your scale for melody creation. So what we have here is a combination of a scaled inner melody while we're working through our chord pattern. And played out in as many different patterns through our piece. Hear the scales in our inner voice. Now that pattern of down a fourth and up a second is so satisfying, it's found its way into pop music. Take the current song. Isn't that exactly the same? In fact, it's exactly Pachelbel canon. Instead of, just leaves out that last cadence of 4 or 5 and it repeats it over and over. You'll find many, many even rap songs using that same pattern, but it may take it in a little more rugged style. Or maybe just the first few chords. The key here is to explore in your key with scale and find those chord patterns, work through different inversions, see what you can come up with.